All right, I think we're going to get started because people are flowing out and I'm 2 minutes past time. So come and join me. Anybody who wants to participate in an interactive onboarding learning work session with myself, Pablo. I work for BullBitcoin, which is the best exchange ever invented. We're a self-custodial exchange based out of Canada, operating in Mexico, Costa Rica, and across Europe. And today I'm going to talk to you about Evangelization 2.5. If anybody wants to come and join me, come on down and make some, you want to join at the back? Anybody want to join? We're doing an interactive workshop on how to learn Bitcoin and teach Bitcoin. Anybody wants to join, come on down. All right, let's jump into it straight away. What I wanted to do, first of all, is to just find out how are we doing? Guys in the audience, this is going to be interactive. So like thumbs up, thumbs down, whereabouts are we at? With thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. How are we doing? Thumbs up? Okay, we're good. Excellent, excellent. Double thumbs up over here. That's perfect. I want to check in with you guys regularly. It's important when you're teaching Bitcoin to check that your audience is responsive and check how they're doing. So we're always checking in. Evangelization. I'm going to explain to you what this word means and why it's important to me. Evangelization, if we remove it from the religious context, actually means the giving of good news. An angel was somebody who would arrive and have a good message. They would give you some good news. They would be able to tell you something was coming. So this is why I believe in Bitcoin evangelization, because I have good news. I have very good news. I want you to turn to your neighbor now. Quentin, I want you to turn to your neighbor, and I want you to turn to tell them I have good news. But you might be wondering what the good news is. Do you know what the good news is? Do you know what the good news is? The good news in Bitcoin evangelization is that we fixed the money, all right? I've got this thing right down here. This is pretty much, as a Bitcoiner, this should be your Bible, okay? If we're looking at evangelization, this is a white paper. Raise your hands if you've read the white paper. Take your hand, put it over your shoulder, and tap yourself on the back. Good job. I want everybody to take a copy of the white paper. I have English, and I have Czech as well. Everybody grab a copy of the white paper and come and join me because it's going to get started. We're going to learn how to spread the good news through evangelization. This is how it goes. But before we get into evangelization 2.5, we're going to learn what evangelization classically looks like. Why do I call myself a Bitcoin evangelist? If you want to know, come and grab a seat. I call myself a Bitcoin evangelist because Bitcoin is a very hard subject to teach. Bitcoin is basically everything we don't know about computers mixed with everything we don't know about money. So as a teacher, this is a perfect subject for me. I have to learn computers and I have to learn money, something I never knew anything about before I read this white paper. It was at that point that I became evangelized. So this is where we go. There's certain problems with Bitcoin evangelization though, and that's why it's kind of fallen out of being a fashionable word. Everybody on Twitter had laser eyes and called themselves evangelists. Let's go to the moon. Pew pew. However, it usually looks like this. If you've ever tried to talk to anyone about Bitcoin pre-2025, this was what it looked like. You would ear blast them with information about, we've done it, Satoshi. However, this is not the successful face of evangelization. And I'm going to tell you why. We basically give this as the result. We blast them in the face with way too much information that they will never understand. And negatively, they fall off the boat. We actually lose them. And we actually lose participation. It's not a good behavior to be super, super, super passionate from the get-go. You have to create a relationship with the person learning. Also, another problem when you're teaching Bitcoin is, in fact, we give them too much information. Every time I go to a meetup, or I do an online webinar, or I do any type of interaction with learners of Bitcoin, they always ask me lots of questions, and that's great. I love curiosity. It's the best thing we can ask for. However, you have to be able to say no. If they ask you, if you're talking about transactions, and they ask you about mempool, say, it's great, the question about mempool. I appreciate that question. However, we'll talk about it next week. You complete what you want to teach them, and you say no to rabbit holing them into obscurity, because it doesn't work. Another behavior that we need to have as well, this is the Bitcoiner on the right, and this is a pre-coiner on the left. We need empathy. We need to be able to look at people who are trying to learn Bitcoin We need to put our hand on their shoulder and say, it's okay. I can help you. It's going to take some time, but there's a pain point. And we have to be sensitive to that. We can't just shit on fiat and be like, destroy the central banks. These people are finding life hard and they know it. We should reach out with empathy first. Another core behavior that I always like to look at is this one. This is the path that you walked. Most people who've been in Bitcoin for more than 1 or 2 or 3 years, you walked this path. Congratulations. It was a hard path. You listened to 10,000 hours of podcasts. You know everything Michael Saylor ever said. And you've even been hanging out on Twitter so long that you just share memes with your friends. That was how you became a Bitcoiner. However, it's not how people are going to learn how to be Bitcoiners in the future. The people who learn Bitcoin this way are already in Bitcoin. We need to reach out. If we want adoption, we have to be like this guy. We have to be a shepherd. Now, before you say it, I'm not treating people like sheep here. But the shepherd looks after his flock. These are our people. We have to protect them from the wolves and the mountains and the storms. Thank you. Also, one of the best things I like when I'm teaching Bitcoin, and this is where we went actually, was through a beautiful thing that you shared with me outside. Curiosity. This is my favorite film, Pulp Fiction. We never know what's in the suitcase, right? But how curious are we to find out? As a teacher, you should be seeding curiosity in your learners. You should make sure that they feel, first of all, relaxed, welcomed, and then ask them, what interests you? Why are you curious? How can I help you? Because curiosity is the vehicle to being able to evangelize successfully. How are we doing so far? Thumbs up, thumbs down? You can be in the middle. You can be at the I understand it's last day, Prague. You guys are here. I love it. We're doing okay. All right, so how does this apply to me? What do? I work for BullBitcoin as an evangelist. It's a title I gave myself. Don't worry about it. It's not a real thing. But I just really liked to be able to hack education. I might seem a bit egotistical putting my own tweets on a presentation, but this is how it works for me. What I see is we're hacking education and orange pilling through conscious participation and tracing new neural pathways. It's a very fancy tweet. I was very proud of it. But don't worry, we're going to do it right now. This is the good news. Again, talk to your neighbor, turn to the person on the left or the right and tell them, I have good news. Do it. Say to your neighbor, I've got good news. This is how we evangelize, guys. Okay, so that was the old evangelization. Those are the old behaviors, but this is what I'm trying to do in Bitcoin. This is how I'm trying to make a difference. Come and join us if you're interested. I'm trying to make sure that my past as a teacher is being reflected in the ways I teach Bitcoin today. Podcasts, webinars, it's all great. But teachers have a whole skill set that we Bitcoiners should be using. And I'm going to use one of those today. Are you guys ready for an activity? Yeah? Are you sick of listening to people and watching slides for the past 3 days? Yeah, let's do something. Let's learn something. Let's talk, communicate, and let's try and evangelize together. I want everybody to grab a piece of paper. Can you pass these out for me? Thank you. And I want everybody to grab a pen. Raina or Quentin, can you pass these out for me? I have a stack of pens. Okay, everybody get a pen and a paper. Fold your paper in two. Perfect. And now place it on top of the white paper. So you can use your white paper as a little notepad. There we go. We got it right here. Perfect example. Do you want to show everybody how you did it? This is the perfect example. This is what we need. Excellent. Thank you. I've got a model student sat right here. Thank you. Okay, so this activity we're going to do is very, very simple. I use it in primary schools, secondary schools, universities. It's called Think, Pair, Share. 3 steps. We're going to think, then we're going to pair, and then we're going to share. What are we going to talk about, though? Bitcoin. I want to talk about Bitcoin education more specifically. So we have a little bit of a think activity to do. First, I'm going to help you think. I don't want you to just philosophize on your own. We're here together as a collective. I want the conversation to be constructive. So first of all, on your paper, draw a big triangle. If you have pens that don't work, we have extra pens, but on your paper, draw a triangle. All right, I see you guys know your geometry. Excellent job. We're doing good. Next, I want you to split the triangle into sections like this. Draw lines on your triangle. A little bit more advanced. Geometry 2.0. Draw these lines on the triangle, please. Perfect. Do you want to show everybody? This is a perfect example. Now you're going crushing it. Everybody's doing great. Are you okay? Excellent. Excellent. Guys at the back, you good? Perfect. Let's move forward. Okay, next. You don't have to write these down. You do not have to write these, but I want to explain each section of the triangle to you. This is a learning pyramid. These are where people are in when we're talking about Bitcoin education and Bitcoin adoption. There's a hierarchy of knowledge. That's what this is. At the top, who do you think's at the top? I'm going to ask you guys. You can raise hands or shout out, whatever. Who do you think's at the top of the tree of knowledge of Bitcoin? No, I'm not there. I don't know everything. We'll come back to it if you don't know then. Let's jump one further down. Developers. Raise your hand if anyone's a developer here. Any devs here? Any devs here? No developers here, all right? So we can already see that we've got a gap in the knowledge hierarchy, right? We're missing devs. Yo, where my devs at? Any devs want to join us? We need some devs. I think they all went home. You a dev? Too bad. Okay, so after the developer, we have the maxi, the pleb node runner, or the hodler. These are people who have Bitcoin, they hold Bitcoin, they know how Bitcoin works. They've kind of done the 10,000 hours of podcasts, if you will. Come on down. Below this, and I meet these guys a lot at meetups, we have people who are not fully all in Bitcoin, but they know crypto. They know the ETF. They have stocks, they trade, they know money, they know buying and selling. This is this level. And then below this level, and it's no way a superiority thing. It's a knowledge-based triangle, right? We have the curious newbie, somebody who's very new, and we have the skeptical newbie. And once you identify this triangle, what I want you to do is I want you to draw a circle on where you think you are in this triangle. You personally, where is your knowledge right now? Are you at the top in the mysterious category? The Satoshi, Hal Finney, not in the room anonymous guys? Are you a dev? Are you a maxi? Are you a kind of person who knows about crypto? Are you a newbie? Or are you a skeptical newbie? I want you to put a circle where you are. And be honest, but there's no right answer. Perfect. I love it. Thank you. Proof of work. Right here. I love the Smiths t-shirt, by the way. I wanted to tell you that for a long time. I'm from Manchester. I love this music. Yeah, we'll talk later. You're from Brazil? Excellent. We'll talk about Brazil as well, because we're coming to Brazil. Watch out. Okay. Next on this triangle, you'll see I put a star. The star was the last person I tried to teach about Bitcoin. I'm a Bitcoin maxi, and I was in a pub. I was talking with one of my friends. He's obviously from England. I was in a pub talking with my friend, and he's kind of a community-based, let's call him a very left-leaning, vegan, community, repair your own shit, like very, very good values for his community. But he was very skeptical about Bitcoin because he was an anti-capitalist, being on the left, right? So, on the left, right, sorry. So I'm going to put him in here. It's not about where I am. I want you to think now, who was the last person that you spoke to about Bitcoin outside of this conference? This is where we do the thinking. Who was the person you tried to educate? And where were they on this triangle? Take a minute to think and draw a star where they are. Everybody good? All right, let's move forward. Now, I want you to draw an arrow from the circle to the star. Draw a very simple arrow from the circle to the star. And now I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think this arrow represents? It's a knowledge gap. Perfect. That's exactly how we call it in pedagogy. We call it the knowledge gap. As an educator, you should always, always, always be looking to bridge the knowledge gap. But to do that, you need to know where you are and where your learner is. Super important. So for me, this is my friend Sam. He was the guy that I was trying to orange pill. He didn't like the way that Bitcoin seemed to him to be capitalist. We were talking about why does it cost more money to repair a toaster than it does to buy one? And I was telling him about mass production in China and mass batch production and shipping. The economic incentives are not in Canada where I live, are not there to repair the toaster. For me, it's cheaper to buy a new one. And I understand that that made him feel sad. And I share that sadness. However, I have a solution because I have good news. How do we bridge that? This is what I was experiencing. Does anybody know what this is? Does anybody know what this is? At the back? This is the electronic symbol for resistance. In this process, across the knowledge gap, I was experiencing resistance. How do you overcome resistance? How are we doing so far? You okay? Everybody follow? All right. This is what teachers do. You got to check in and find out. I can't just blast you. Right? Okay. This is how we overcome resistance. There's a lot of things that cause it. FUD is a main one. People have read information that's not correct about Bitcoin. Time is another one. Somebody asks you a big question, but you have 30 minutes. How do you resume that in that amount of time? Also, there are technical issues. I operate on iOS, they operate on Android. Sometimes there's a tech issue. And facts. Sometimes you're missing facts. In my situation, when I was talking to my friend Sam, I was experiencing resistance because I was missing the facts. I needed to know more about the toaster fabrication process in China. I'm not that guy. But I felt that I was not well equipped enough with my facts. This was my problem. As an evangelist, I should be looking to identify what the problem is in my teaching and looking at how I can help myself upgrade for the next time. This is how we level up, and we're going to do it together. You guys are thinking with me, but I'm done talking. Don't worry, it's not the end of the presentation. I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes. I want you to turn to the person who's closest to you, and I want you to explain to them where you are, where the person was you were educating was, and what was the resistance, if any. And remember, you can be a beginner going up. You can be speaking as a newbie to a developer. You can be the learner in this situation. But most of us with Bitcoin jerseys, we're going to be the teachers. But there might be new people in the room. If you're a learner, that's fine as well. I'm going to give you an honest 5 minutes. I'm going to walk around, and I'd like to see you talk with each other about this pyramid of knowledge. Is that okay? If you haven't got a paper and you haven't joined in, feel free to join a group and just listen, or we can help you out. In fact, do you mind if I work with you? All right, let's go. 5 minutes. Okay, that about wraps it up. That's about 5 minutes. I think everybody's more or less done. Are we all done? Thumbs up. Yeah, you guys done at the back? Everybody done here? Okay. So what we're going to do next is super simple. We're going to share now. You were talking in small groups of 2 or 3. I want you now not to talk about yourself. I want you to talk about the person you were sharing with. I want you to represent their struggle. So for example, I was talking with Peter at the back. Hey, Peter. Peter's a Bitcoin educator who's been educating in Colombia. Can we give him a round of applause, guys? Can we give Peter a round of applause? He's doing amazing work. He's doing amazing work, but he also educates in Switzerland, and that's where he experiences the most resistance. Oh, and in the Philippines as well. But you were saying in Switzerland, the resistance is the lack of urgency. Everybody says, why do I need to change things? Things are the way they are. It's just a very impartial attitude to Bitcoin, right? Right, exactly. So that's what I want you guys to do. I want you now to turn to somebody else that you didn't talk with, and I want you to share what that person you were speaking with told you. So another 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes actually. Let's keep it short. 2 minutes, just give a summary to somebody else like, hey, I was talking with Pablo, and basically this is what he said. Okay, 2 minutes, 3, 2, 1, let's get it. Okay, about 20 seconds left. If you haven't finished your conversations, I'm going to give you 20 seconds to finish. Okay, so that is our time. If I can interrupt you guys kindly. We're going to stop our conversations. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Thank you. Guys at the back, can I get your attention? Francis is in the house. Francis, come on down, my friend. We're talking Bitcoin evangelization. All right, okay. Guys, can I just check in? Peter at the back. How are you doing? You okay? You finished? Awesome. Guys at the back here, everybody good? Perfect. Guys at the front, my Smiths guy. Can you check on these guys and find out if they're okay? You guys good? Awesome. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. So what we did there was an example of Evangelization 2.5, right? What we're trying to do is to break down the information dump and the slide deck and the lack of reception and interaction. Bitcoin education needs to leverage pedagogical tools to be able to successfully adopt Bitcoin. This is what pedagogy means. This is the science of education, basically. And this is what I've studied. Pre-Bitcoin, I was a teacher. And pre-Bitcoin, this is what I'm doing. And this hasn't changed since Bitcoin. In fact, I feel the urgency even more now because the subject I teach is the most important subject I've ever met. I'm a Bitcoin evangelist, and I have good news. Tell your neighbor, I have good news. All right, we're getting it. Now, why do I do this? What is the magic for me? Why do I like teaching? The beautiful thing about teaching is this wonderful word. I'm going to say it, and I want you to repeat it. Synaptogenesis. Repeat. All right, what does this mean? Basically, we're creating new pathways through the brain. You're nodding. That's exactly it. We're in agreement with each other, but when you tell somebody something new and they understand it, they go, wow, I get it now. And that for me is exactly why I teach Bitcoin. It's my payoff. What I require is your curiosity, and thank you for giving it to me. And what I hope to inspire is synaptogenesis. In your brains, it clicks. Here at BullBitcoin, this is what I'm doing to try and implant Evangelization 2.0 into all of our operations. Part of our mission is to deliver evangelization to the masses. I feed off the eureka moment. I deliver and require interaction. I need to encourage cooperative learning. You need to learn from each other. I want to bridge the knowledge gap that Quentin mentioned earlier. I want to reduce friction, and I want to encourage a progression of learning, one step at a time. And finally, we've got to look into different learner types as well, because that hard path through the mountains that you walked and those 10,000 hours of Bitcoin podcasts you listen to is not how everybody will pick up Bitcoin. We have to diversify and accept that people learn in different ways. We have to understand brains before they can understand Bitcoin. I'm developing at the moment a series of workshops and lesson plans that will be able to be open sourced and delivered to you so you can head to your local communities, meetups, workplaces, family reunions, churches, whatever it may be, and you can go about delivering what I do on a day-to-day basis yourselves. I want to inspire you that you can do these things, but you have to be able to change the way that we educate. It's not a slide deck. That was not the magic of what I did. The magic of what I did was you guys talking to each other about Bitcoin and how we can help people learn from each other. That's the beauty. That's the synaptogenesis, and that's why I call myself an evangelist. Thank you very much for listening.